the game, cause see the boxing voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Mario's Throwdown Fantasy Minute.
You're listening to Mario's Throwdown Fantasy Minute, giving you the winning strategy and tactical advice for your fantasy boxing team, making the points that earn you the points, preparing you for the big games that earn you big cash prizes, giving you the guarantees, sleepers, and buyer bewares. This segment is brought to you by Throwdownfantasy.com, the only boxing-oriented fantasy game on the market dedicated to real fight fans with real know.
All right, guys, another edition of Throwdown Fantasy Minute, but this is not just another edition. This is the big one, the contest that we've all been waiting for, the Miguel Cotto, Saul Canelo Alvarez contest. You can go to Throwdown right now, and you can sign up for free, like always, play for free, or you can enter the $2 and $10 games for this contest right now. The $10 game is offering a $2,000 prize pool. Guys, the minute this contest is in, pretty much the second this contest ends, that money's there. It's real. You need to sign up today. And this contest is separating all the hardcores and casuals with knowledge from the rest of the pack. Guys, this is simultaneously the most entertaining and most difficult contest so far in the history of Throwdown Fantasy. I promise you. They are offering the best fights this year. This contest. The contest starts November 21st. It's going to be kicked off with the Miguel Cotto Canelo Alvarez, hence the name of the contest. Again, like always, we're going to go real quick and explain it briefly. You get a $25,000 salary cap. Each fighter is worth a certain amount. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, it is shown on the screen. You will be able to draft these fighters, but you must stay within your $25,000 salary cap. When you select 5 fighters, those are the 5 fighters that you're going to roll through the contest. They will accumulate points based on wins, how they got the win, connect percentage, punches thrown, punches landed, and a bunch of other things. So let's get into it right now. I want to go over just some real quick things before I jump into the meat of the segment. Jermell Charlo is coming in at 5,600. He's the second most expensive fighter. I'm sorry, the third most expensive fighter in the fantasy game this week. The second most is Erislandy Lara at 5,700. Earl Spence is actually the most expensive fighter at 5,900 this week. And so that is, a big deal. A big deal because, when you have that much money taken off the chopping block right away, it means that you don't have that much money left to spend. But we're going to get into, if you find yourself in a predicament where you drafted Earl Spence or one of these other guys and you don't got that much money, I'm going to give you your sleeper pick. I'm starting with this already, and I hyped this on Twitter. This is your sleeper pick. You must have this guy on your team. If you don't have him, you're probably going to lose. You're probably not going to get the most money that you can get. Okay, and this fighter is Takashi, and I'm going to say his name right, Takashi Miura, who is taking. I thought it was Miura. Is it Mira? Okay, I'm sorry. Then I practiced that all week and I jacked it up. Mira. Okay, fine. Well, he's fighting Francisco Vargas, and he is the underdog in this fight. Right now, Mira's at 4,700. He's averaging 83.5 fantasy points. He's throwing 450 punches, landing 159.8 for 35%. Vargas, like I said, costs 5,200. He's averaging 82.7 points, so only 1 point less than Mira. But this is the thing. You need value, guys. 4,700, this is the name of the club, the 4,700 Club. And Mira is the president of this club. You got to have him on your team. He's going to win this fight. It's going to be a close fight. It's going to be a tough fight. This is your sleeper. He wouldn't really be a sleeper in any other sense of the word. There's a lot of people that think he's going to win this fight. Francisco Vargas, a lot of you know, he's a really tough fighter. He's definitely in this fight. I mean, more than in this fight. He's a favorite for a reason. But I'm picking Mira. This is your sleeper. You got to believe me on this one. 4,700. We're going to stay with the 4,700 Club, and we're going to move on to James DeGale. James DeGale is coming into this contest, and he too is being offered at 4,700. James DeGale, Chunky, is averaging 60.1 fantasy points. He's landing 146 punches per fight, and he's throwing 490. Okay. That's for 29.8%. The reason why I like him so much is because, in my opinion, he's going to win this fight against Butte. This is a guaranteed win, a guaranteed win. We all know what Butte's been able to do in the past. He has 2 losses on his record, a vicious knockout-style loss to Carl Froch. It's a TKO in the 5th round. He also lost to John Pascal with a 12-round unanimous decision. Butte did come back, and he fought Ardrea, I think, De Luisa, I think is how you pronounce it. And he scored a 4th round TKO, and he looked good in the fight. He did. But the opposition in front of him, who was it? James DeGale's going to win this fight. The question is, when will he get the stoppage? This is a bargain. In this contest, we're looking for wins. That's what we're looking for. In any other time, in any other contest, I'm trying to get the value for my money. Who's going to throw more punches and get the win? Who's going to score the knockout while they accumulate a high connect percentage? But in this sense, for this contest, Canelo Cotto, I'm looking for wins. James DeGale is one of the cheapest guys that's almost guaranteed to win. You got to go with him. I think he's a must buy. That does it for the 4,700 club and my, kind of borderline sleepers, even though they're not technically sleepers in the real sense of the word. I am going to move on to Udell Johnson and Daquan Arnett. This fight being offered is the funnest fight to consider in the contest because both of these guys, believe it or not, for the first time ever, I think, are the same price, 4,600 a piece. I'm picking this fight in every single contest, and I know it's a gamble. You ask yourself, Udell Johnson's coming in this fight. What has he really done lately? Daquan Arnett, what has he really done lately? His last fight, he beat Joshua Connolly, who was 11-0-1. But he won that fight by split decision in the 8th round. Udell Johnson, everyone knows, lost to Willie Nelson by unanimous decision in the 10th round. But it's his last fight that has me most concerned. The fight with Jorge Cota. He took a lot of punishment. If you don't remember that fight, it was one of the first fights on Bounce TV for PBC. It was the co-main event. It was a really great fight. People got super hyped and were saying it was like fight of the year. It was a really solid fight. Udell Johnson ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision through 10 rounds. Like I said, they're both being offered at 4,600. I'm picking Arnett. I'm picking Arnett because I think he's more skilled. It boils down to that. Udell Johnson's good. Udell Johnson's been in there with tough guys. Arnett, his lone loss is to Eddie Gomez. He lost that unanimous decision 10 round. A lot of people remember back then were like, why are they putting Arnett and Eddie Gomez, 2 guys that are on the up against each other, undefeated at the time? But Arnett's got the goods. I really believe in him. That being said, you got to pick this fight. You have to, because even if this is one of your last picks, you're guaranteed a win with one of these guys, right? Because it's 50-50. You got to take this gamble. I'm telling you right now, your team will be empty without one of these guys on it. So those are, some of the picks that I think can help for if you go with some of the safer guys like Earl Spence and Jermell Charlo. One of these guys are going to end up on your list. Now, the guys to stay away from, I'm not calling them bust. Now, usually we talk about sleepers and bust, guarantees if you're familiar with fantasy games. But in this sense of the word, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about guys to stay away from. And the guy that I'm staying away from most of all, Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara at 5,700 is not good. No bueno. He is not a good guy to own. To me, he's fighting Jan Zavik, okay? Zavik is coming in at 4,200. He's only been stopped once, and that was against Berto, when he couldn't continue because of his right eye. Look, Zavik went the distance with Keith Thurman not too long ago, right? Zavik's a very tough fighter. I'm not saying he's winning this fight. Laura's going to win this fight. But at 5,700, you're going to need a stoppage from Lara because for $1,000 less, you can get Jermall Charlo, who's, in with Wilkie Camphor and, could get a stoppage, I think. Earl Spence, who I'll talk about in a minute. For $2,000 more dollars, you can get Earl Spence. Those are way better for your value than Erislandy Lara. I'm staying away from him. He's way too high priced, even though I did say that this is about getting wins and he is definitely guaranteed to win. I'm going to go with other guys that are closer to guaranteed than him, and so he's a guy that I'm going to stay away from. Like I said, Lara's last 4 fights have all gone the distance, and one of those fights he lost. So I'm going to stay away from Lara. He's not a guy that is, in my opinion, going to be worth the sauce at the end of the day. So another guy that I'm going to stay away from in this And it kills me to say it. It really does. But one of the guys I'm going to stay away from is Vladimir Klitschko. And I'm staying away from Tyson Fury. I'm staying away from this fight completely. This is like one of the sexiest, most entertaining, most funnest contests in Throwdown history because they're offering all these kinds of fights. They're pick'em fights. And in this sense, I know Klitschko's going to win. But how's he going to win? You know, and Tyson Fury's definitely a live dog. He could pull the upset. You know, having one of these guys on your team at this price, because 5,400 is cheaper than Errol Spence, cheaper than Jermall Charlo, certainly cheaper than Erislandy Lara. He's actually the fourth least expensive pick. So that's good value, but this fight is such a toss-up in my opinion in terms of what can happen. I think that at the end of the day, you stay away from this fight, because it's only going to get you in trouble. You're only going to find yourself regretting or you know, it's just, you're going to be lucky. And if you're going to be lucky, go with somebody that's going to cost 4,600, you know, in the Udell Johnson fight. Go with one of those kind of fights because you're going to get more value for your buck. And in my opinion, those fights are, in a sense, a question mark, just like Vladimir Klitschko and Tyson Fury. Again, this contest starts November 21st. I'm calling you all out. I mean, you know, Georgie, all the you know, alumni, come on, play. You know, you can see my name on the list. I'm playing every single game. $2, $10 free Throwdown. I'm calling all you guys out. Mario TBV, come find me and let's see if you beat me. Let's see if you have it better than I do. The last one that I'm going to talk about is going to be the name of the fight. Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. And now obviously we're going to do our official, you know, breakdown next week on Thursday in the lead up to the fight. But quickly, in terms of fantasy relevance, Miguel Cotto is scoring 56.8 fantasy points, as I said earlier, I believe. 156 punches landed out of 429 thrown, I'm sorry. At 4,600, Miguel Cotto is not a bad pick. You know, he's one of the cheaper picks available. I don't hate him, but he's going to lose. So if you're going to pick Miguel Cotto, you're going to have to bank off one of two things. One, you believe he's going to win, which in that sense, yeah, of course, pick him. But in the other sense, you got to believe that he's going to be offensive enough no matter what. Is he going to win by completely smothering and overwhelming Canelo Alvarez? If he's not, then don't pick him. Even if you think he's going to win. You get what I'm saying here? Because this is a guaranteed win, but how's he going to win? Because if at the end of the day Canelo robs him, if it comes down to the cards and Canelo lost the fight for sure, but he ends up getting the decision, that hurts you. And if Cotto, you know, was precise and Cotto was a boxer and he did these things to win the fight, then it's not going to accumulate the points you need, and you're going to lose out if he does not get the decision. Canelo, on the other hand, at 5,100, I'm buying him. I've bought him on a couple of my teams so far because I think he's going to win the fight. 5,100 is a good score. I mean, it's a good price. I can still afford a guy like Jermall Charlo. I can still afford a guy like, you know, borderline, some of the other guys that we have already mentioned. Randy Caballero, another guy that I haven't mentioned, who's worth 5,100 points right now. I mean, I'm sorry, he's worth $5,100. He's scoring 74 fantasy points. He's landing 173 punches out of 461 thrown. I would rather go with Randy Caballero and Canelo, build up my guys like that. But if you go with the Earl Spence route, just stay with my sleepers and you're going to be fine. So that's been your Throwdown Fantasy Minute. I will have another little short video probably on my own away from the show, just to kind of break down a few of the things that I didn't talk about. But again, go to Throwdown Fantasy, sign up, find my name, Mario TBV, and let's see if you can beat me. I might come up with a prop bet here for next week, but we'll talk about that. No shaving eyebrows.
Now,